It's a Friday morning, and of course, we're gearing for a very interesting weekend. But you're welcome to the market review for September 25th, 2020, as we wrap up the week looking at developments in the capital market. Today, activities in the listed securities and regulations in the capital market. Let's first give you a rundown of what we'll be looking at in today's show. First would be the previous week overview of the NASD OTC market, what happened in that space. And then we'll look at a charge from the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning to the Investments and Securities Tribunal on the way forward in the market. And also, we'll also take a look at the Securities and Exchange Commission of Nigeria implementation of Section 60 to 63 of the Investment Securities Act 2007. Let's begin with the NASD OTC review of activities for the previous week. And first, it begins with a preface looking at the food and agricultural sector. According to the NSD, it is known to most, if not all, that every human has basic needs. These needs are essential for survival: food, clothing, and shelter. The article prefacing the previous review of weekly activities for NSD aims at first mentioning, as it would be, the impact of the global pandemic on the agricultural sector. There are key areas that have been influenced by the virus outbreak, thus they would be discussed in this short summary article. The global economy during this very turbulent time has witnessed a rapid decline in growth. This has led to reduced incomes and consumer budget constraints. Consequently, the sales from food and agricultural produce have been declining from the last quarter of 2019. This is concerning the values pre-pandemic. This situation has to be treated with much attention to preventing a global food emergency or famine. So it should come as no surprise when the respective governments of the world make exceptions for this sector in terms of the restrictions. The current climate has forced the laying off of workers within the industry, especially the firms that are majorly labor intensive. With this situation, one should expect an increase in unemployment and eventually productivity. For instance, a nation like Nigeria would be hampered significantly as this sector provides numerous jobs and employment opportunities for existing labor force. This is why the governments of these economies lacking industrialization in the agricultural sector should look into creating and implementing policies that will better the situation to prevent this from happening in the future. Another point of note is the increase in global food prices, which of course is part of the reasons why Nigeria's inflation has spiraled to 13.24%. This can be attributed to panic buying as a result of the virus outbreak by the individuals who cannot afford it. Therefore, to maximize their productivity, they will increase their prices as food is essential for survival. According to reports, there would be an increase in prices, particularly for vegetable oils and dairy products. However, the opposite is expected for meat and rice. Unfortunately, the United Nations has projected an increase in the number of people living below the poverty line as they cannot afford their personal feeding daily. This sector is not an island as it depends on other sectors to complete its process to reach final consumers. An important one is transportation. Due to the current situation, agri companies have had to shorten their supply chains and increase the efficiency in their storage systems. Also, there have been local logistical problems experienced by the stakeholders in the industry. This has caused delay or loss of produce as a result of ineffective transportation techniques, and also the restrictions placed on travel and transport has limited the movement of people and commodities from one place to another. Overall, a lot of responsibility falls on the ministries of agriculture in all countries, as well as international organizations like the Committee on Food Security. These institutions listed above should try to encourage the reorientation of food systems and the transportation of produce. On the part of the Nigerian economy, these policies will reduce our dependence on imports of food and agricultural produce. This will serve as measures to improve their capacity to respond amidst uncertain periods like this. As solution providers, the NSD has continued to engage and encourage investments into the various sectors, including the agricultural sector through the NSD Enterprise Portal and NSD Venture, vital to the growth and development. Let's take a look at the year-to-date activities and previous week of NSE OTC. The exchange market closed on a positive note year-to-date as the market recorded an increase in performance. NSE Security Index year-to-date return closed by 3.22%. Total volume traded was year-to-date stands at 7,826,798 and 292 units in 1,146 deals, and total value traded is 10,855,916,173.39. In terms of overview of the week 38, the exchange closed the week with a positive return on its NSI. The NSI return rose by 1.05% to close the week at 720.02 points against 712.54 points against the preceding Friday of September 11, 2020. In addition, week 38 saw NSE investors gain 5.49 billion naira in value. NSE OTC market capitalization closed at 528.90 billion naira compared to 524.64 billion naira in the preceding Friday, resulting from a negative movement of prices. There was a 281.83% increase in total value traded during the week, as week 38 saw NSE investors trade a total of 108,401,095 in value compared to 22,437,218 to 20 in the previous week. Total trade activity for the year is valued now at 10,855,916,173.39. In the same pattern, volume traded during the week was 3,246,505 naira in units compared to 640,354 units in the previous week, leading to a 406.99 increase in the trade volume compared to week 37. The total volume traded for the year is 7,826,798,292 units. Looking at the top traded securities by volume, the week closed with the Central Securities Clearing System PLC ranking top among 5 most traded securities by volume, and Friesland Campina Wamco Nigeria PLC as the 5th most traded stock by volume in week 38. These are the top traded securities by values. The week closed with NIPCO PLC ranking top among 5 most traded securities by value, and Famad Nigeria PLC stood as the 5th most traded security by value for the week. Advances also emerged as usual. 2 of NSE OTC stocks closed the week with a positive movement in price. Friesland Campina Wamco Nigeria PLC, which currently holds the market capitalization of 127.22 billion naira, closed the week at 130 naira 31 kobo, representing a 4.25% increase from the previous 125 naira. NIPCO PLC, which currently holds a market capitalization of 932.71 billion naira, closed their week at 70 naira, representing a 7.18% increase from the previous close of 65 naira 31 kobo. Who were the decliners for the week? 2 of NSE OTC stocks closed the week with a negative movement in price. Afriland Properties, which currently holds a market capitalization of 2.06 billion naira, closed the week at 1.5 naira, representing a minus 9.64% decrease from the previous close of 1 naira 66 kobo. Central Securities Clearing System PLC, which currently holds a market capitalization of 67.50 billion naira, closed the week at 13 naira 5 kobo, representing a minus 0.52% decrease from the previous close of 13 naira 57 kobo. Now let's go on to regulations and activities in the markets. The chairman and members of the Investment and Securities Tribunal have been urged to diligently work together to discharge the responsibilities of the tribunal. This was stated by the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, on the occasion of the swearing-in of Barrister Azi Amos Isaac and Barrister Nosa Smart Osemengwe as the chairman and member of the Investments and Securities Tribunal, respectively. Mrs. Ahmed said, with your appointment, the tribunal now has a full complement of 10 members in line with the enabling law, the Investment Securities Act 2007. It is therefore our hope that all members will justify the confidence reposed in them by President Muhammadu Buhari. While congratulating them for being found worthy by Mr. President to be appointed to the highly exalted positions, the minister also said, "Your appointments have come at a time when all hands are needed to build our economy." As you all may be aware, according to the minister, the IST was first inaugurated in December 2002. It is a specialized fast-track court established for the settlement of disputes in the capital market. Since its establishment, the tribunal, Mr. Ahmed noted, has made some strides, particularly in its adjudicatory role, which has gone a long way to sanitize the capital market and build investor confidence. Within the short time of its existence, in view of the dynamism in law, the tribunal has reviewed its procedure rules with the publication of the IST Procedure Rules 2014. Also, worthy of note is that the tribunal has partnered with the Securities and Exchange Commission to review the enabling law with the enactment of ISA 2007. Besides, the tribunal has, to its credit, the publication of the law reports, the Nigerian Investment and Securities Law Report, NISLR. Publication, in her view, has in no small measure enhanced capital market jurisprudence. Recalling the challenges that affected the tribunal in the past, the Honorable Minister said, notwithstanding these commendable achievements, the tribunal has, in the last 5 years, suffered many setbacks due largely to poor administration. These setbacks have blurred, if not completely wiped out, whatever modest achievements of the tribunal have recorded in its adjudicatory role. She said there is a recall that in November 2015, the tribunal was dissolved and the chairman and members relieved of their jobs. A new panel of the tribunal was also instituted and inaugurated in 2017. Again, barely 2 years into the tenure, the chairman of the tribunal was removed. The problems with the tribunal had been infighting amongst members, lack of industrial harmony, and a series of complaints bordering on maladministration. These have been the bane of the tribunal and source of embarrassment not only to the ministry but to the federal government, she said. In view of the challenge, Mrs. Ahmed, highlighting the chairman's responsibility, stated that it was important that the chairman continues to provide good leadership that will galvanize the human and material resources at the tribunal's disposal on the path of stability towards achieving its mandate in a consistent manner. She called on all members of the ISC to cooperate with the new chairman so that the vision of the tribunal, which is to be a world-class capital market tribunal, is fair and transparent, dispensing justice without fear or favor, is attained. In his remarks, the newly sworn-in chairman of the IST, Mr. Mosazi, described the appointment as a challenging one, but however assured that the new management will take up the challenge and ensure that Nigerians are not disappointed. According to him, the tribunal was established as a critical infrastructure in the ecosystem of the capital market and indeed Nigeria as a whole. From 2003 to date, they have given judgment in the value of assets of over 844 billion naira, and from 2017 to date, they have given decisions in monetary value of over 24 billion naira. The tribunal has not failed in its statutory responsibility. It has carried out its assignment with candor and integrity, and he implores he will improve on that. The issue of administrative and labor-related issues are being looked into, according to the new chairman, Mr. Mosazi, and he's happy to report that progress has been made so far. Mr. Mosazi said the tribunal currently is equipped and properly situated to look into all the financial issues in the country and express the hope that it can be transformed so that it can look at all issues arising from the entire financial sector. Those are very wise thoughts from the IST chairman, and definitely we wish IST all the best as they take up this new role of adjudication in the market. It's very important. What has been highlighted by the finance minister is very good, because for over the last 5 years, that instability in the IST has affected effective adjudication, and now is the time to deepen jurisdiction and adjudication. Let's go into some very important developments, again from our regulators, the apex regulator of the markets, Securities and Exchange Commission, is saying that in response to the eruption of corporate scandals in 2001 involving financial reporting and accounting practices, for those that can remember, several jurisdictions enacted legislations to enhance transparency and uphold the integrity of financial markets. As part of the efforts to reform corporate financial reporting in Nigeria, the federal government passed the amendment of the Investment and Securities Act 2007, which provides as follows: Section 60, subsection 2, the Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Financial Officer or officers or persons performing similar functions to personally certify the accuracy of the financial statements prepared by such company. Section 61, subsection 1, a public company shall establish a system of internal controls over its financial reporting and security of its assets, and it shall be the responsibility of the board of directors to ensure the integrity of the company's financial controls and reporting. Section 61, subsection 2 says the directors of a public company shall report on the effectiveness of the company's internal control system in its annual reports. And section 63 says an auditor of a public company shall, in his audit report to the company, issue a statement as to the existence, adequacy, and effectiveness of, or otherwise, of the internal control system of the public company. An industry-wide committee made up of regulators in the financial system, professional accounting bodies, audit firms, and other stakeholders have been constituted to develop the framework for implementation. The management of the Commission has reviewed the report of the committee and has approved the framework for exposure to stakeholders and the public for comments. The framework aims to provide guidelines that are necessary for directors who will implement relevant internal controls over financial reporting and auditors who will review same and issue a statement on its existence, adequacy, and effectiveness or otherwise. This is to ensure that directors have common procedures for the evaluation of ICFR, such that any other reasonably knowledgeable person can re-perform the same procedures and arrive at the same conclusion. The documents covers the following: personal certification. The chief executive officers and chief financial officer or officers of persons performing similar functions in public companies filing periodic or annual reports would each sign a personalized certification containing the information provided in the Act. And the second is duty of directors on internal control. The public company shall establish a system of internal controls over its financial reporting and security of its assets, and it shall be the responsibility of the board of directors to ensure the integrity of the company's financial controls and reporting. Third, management annual assessment of and report on the company's internal control over financial reporting. The board of directors of a public company shall report on the effectiveness of the company's internal controls system in its annual report. The annual report shall contain a statement of the management's responsibility for establishing and maintaining adequate ICFR for the company and a statement identifying the control framework used by management to conduct the required evaluation of the effectiveness of the company's internal control over financial reporting. Number 4, the duty of external auditors to report on internal controls of public companies. The external auditor of the company shall issue a statement as to the existence, adequacy, and effectiveness or otherwise of the internal control system of the public company, and the report shall be close to the corresponding attestation report issued by the company's external auditor as a result of the normal audits or in a portion of the document immediately preceding the company's financial statement. All comments and input should be forwarded to the Secretariat, Industry-wide Committee on the Implementation of Sections 60 to 63 of the Investment and Securities Act 2007 via this email, section63@sec.gov.ng. I take it again, section63@sec.gov.ng. And also, you go also mail to section63@sec.gov.ng. Very important to engage on this development. And you can also go to the Director General of Securities and Exchange Commission not later than 2 weeks from the date of publication to get this whole updates and information. So that will be a wrap for this edition of the Market Review. It has been an eventful week discussing developments in the financial and capital market as relates to the economy. We hope to have you same time from next week, 10 a.m. to discuss developments in the market. And this is wishing you a very pleasant weekend. But you can send your comments and views to news@prochange.com. We'll look at it and get back to you appropriately. Also, social media platforms are active. or you can join and interact with us via our social media platforms. Till we come your way again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day, have a great weekend, and looking out for an interesting week of conversations on the market.